All right, so call to order, 7 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance, who wants to lead it tonight?
Yes.
Oh, Nancy, thanks.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Go, go, go.
Okay. First, we'll start off with public comment. Does anybody have anything they'd like to bring up right now? Okay, I have to put on my bag. Hold on. Okay.
I am happy to announce that at Old Home Day this year, within just a short amount of time, within a few days, the community raised $750 to help just expand the DEI collection at the library. So it takes a little longer than I expected to get a check cut when you transfer Venmo over, but we'll have it to you in a couple days.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you so
pretty
much.
excited.
Very
The
exciting.
community was exuberant about supporting the library. It was awesome. It was so exciting. Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Oh, okay, yes.
So the community was just so overwhelmingly excited, and we love you. And, yeah, we're just happy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. I didn't even have to listen to my obnoxious phone. Any more public comment? No? Great. Let's jump in, everyone.
Oh boy, here we go.
Secretary's report.
Do you want me to do it?
Oh, yes. that's fine.
Okay. So we're just reviewing June 5th minutes. Were there any
Those are the big ones.
changes?
42 pages. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and bravo to Donna
No,
for
you rock, honestly.
losing part of her life.
All right.
I would make a motion that we accept the minutes from June 5th.
June 5th. Yes.
Do we have a second? Second, thanks, Christine. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it's passed. Treasurer's report.
Treasurer report, hot off the presses. Besides what it says there, your current accounts, your current account balances for the two different, I had some questions. I've had lots of questions today, but I felt there was a little bit of a confusion in my mind as to which money went into which account. We have the book account and we have the trustee account. And the fines, which I thought went into the trustee account, they actually go into the book account. So, the things that go into the trustee account, which is the main trustee money that we have, are things from the book sales and donations, okay? And the current balance of available balance is $36,537.88. Keep in mind there is 9 cents difference between this and the June 31st account, but I haven't tracked the 9 cents down.
Can you just tell me that number one
Sure.
more time? Sorry.
36,537
Yep.
and 88 cents. And then, the other account, which is the book account, and in there goes the fines, the copies, the lost books, the earbuds, and the book balance from the book funds from the town. We get half of it now. The balance on that account, and I'm saying approximate balance because I didn't have a list of what other things might be written out, but I know there was stuff on their thing, on the list. $45,015.87. So it's 45015.87. And don't look at the labels in the black binder because it's backwards. So, I didn't do it,
I
but
did it.
it's backwards.
I did it.
You did it?
I'll take full responsibility. I was trying to organize.
Well, it's organized, it's just not,
Yeah.
I just have to,
Collated properly.
I just have to move the account numbers, that's all. So we're in good shape. That's the treasurer report as of, plus there's another $112.42 that was just written for Oscar supplies. So that'll come out of the trustee account instead of the book account because he doesn't come out of the book account.
Maybe we need
doesn't
to put him on
circulate.
a docket.
I was going to
He
say,
has to circulate our...
Maybe
It's
we're
betting, it's betting,
overfeeding.
right?
Oh, no, that's just betting. That's just sleeping.
Awesome, do we have someone who'd like, we make a motion on this one? Yes, it's in my notes. Does someone want to accept the?
Second.
Oh, I was going to, yeah, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
And I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, director's report.
Okay, so this is the heavy one because we were gone, well, we didn't meet for 2 months, we weren't gone, we were here. So there was a lot of things going on since June. For the flood, the ceiling tiles got replaced thanks to DPW. So it does look like nothing happened back there, which is wonderful. We had the gutters cleaned, we had our spring maintenance done by our HVAC system, our HVAC company, which is E&E Systems. There is a leak in the front entryway. It's very minor. We are keeping an eye on it. Dave is very frustrated. He can't figure out where it's coming from. Very frustrated. But we are keeping an eye on it. Right now, I don't see any crazy damage. He doesn't see any crazy damage, but we will continue to monitor that. A couple of broken toilet handles. I don't know. It was the time. And we also had the elevator checked. We have also signed up with Precision Pest Control. We have had a little bit of a mice problem here. So they have set up traps. So far, I feel like it's been successful. I haven't seen any droppings. They did catch some, so I feel like that's working. So we're going to keep up with that,
are you
especially
putting
if we
cheese on these?
They actually
Or
come and check the
Or are
traps.
they the zappers?
They are traditional mouse traps. And then there's also other systems that they're using. But they do all the checking. I have checked a couple and been unsuccessful.
I would highly recommend the zappers because there's not poison involved.
Okay.
If you have the poison, the problem is that then you have, mice that may have eaten it and have poison. And then if they get eaten by a child or something, or a dog, or then the poison is available.
Okay, thank you. We also had, I didn't have it, but DPW was called to clean up the weeds that were overtaking our library, the marble sign. So that was happened right before Old Home Day, so it looks good. And I believe Dave did ask me if they could plant some mums there, so they will be doing that. Thankful to them for that. And
For those, right?
huh?
You're paying for them.
Yes. So we had some closures from holidays. We were also closed for Old Home Day. I do want to share with the board that I did get a phone call from a patron that was unhappy that we were closed. The patron expressed to me that we should be open for people to come in to do their reference research. I did share with this patron that the trustees approved us being closed so that we could be in the parade and have a booth. I felt it was important that, and he did ask whose idea was it, and I said it was mine to have the booth and to be in the parade, but I felt like that's where the people are. Plus, the road is closed. You can't access the library while the parade is happening. So I still feel strongly that we made a lot of successful connections down there, and it was great to be where the town is and where the town people are. So I think it was fine, but I wanted to share the complaint. So these are the news, programs and stuff that's happening for September that were posted. So I'm kind of going to skip over that just a little bit, and we'll go into the meetings and trainings. There was a lot of trainings. We've had some trainings with GMILK. I've attended some board meetings with GMILK. There's been some CERC training. the GMILKs, and then on top of the other meetings that we normally would go to, like the joint loss meeting and our senior resource committee meeting. Don and I also met with Dan Black, who's the Londonderry School Superintendent, to talk about, just collaborating more, how can we connect better with the teachers and open those communication lines a lot better. So we felt it was a successful meeting, very nice man, and we're excited to maybe work together in the future on some things or just, open those doors of communication. So that worked out well. And then I think that's it. Oh, there is some, did you, oh, thank you. So I forgot to put it in the report, but I will add it for the, to be able to have it posted. The staffing update, there are some work anniversaries. We had Colleen, who's 13 years with us in July. Wow. Which, thankful. Kat, who is with us, August is her anniversary, 5 years she's been with us. Megan, 19 years. Wow. She gets the winning cake, the winning award. Me, it'll be 3 years at the end of September. Thank you. Jennifer is 6 years at the end of September. Nick is 2 years at September, and Alex is 9 years also in September. So we're very thankful for those staff members and
stars on
the celebration.
We're
going to have a singing telegram coming.
Retention of employees is
Yeah.
really, really important.
Yes.
And it needs to be recognized.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and we have a great staff, so I'm thankful that they're happy here. It seems, anyways, it seems.
I've never asked, can Londonderry teachers have a card at the library?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. That's something my district does, and they come to the building when they do stuff with teachers.
Even if you work, if you work at town hall or any of the town departments, you can have a library card.
Even if you live out of town.
You can get one too. You have to pay. You have to pay. So that's it on my director's report. I didn't know if there were any questions.
I have one question.
Of course.
I mean, it's wonderful. You guys do a lot of training and you do a lot of outreach and stuff. Do you guys, do you have a program, some type of thing in place that you get comp time so you can get a few hours off during the week or something for, when you're working all these hours off the clock and stuff?
We do. Yeah, so we have what they call administrative time. So
I just want to be sure that
a lot of these meetings do take place though during our work hours.
Yeah.
And we sometimes adjust our work hours. Like for example today with the trustees meeting, Donna, Megan, and I all adjusted our work hours today to do a different shift so that we could be here tonight. And,
Great.
So a lot of times that happens. We adjust our schedules.
I just want to make sure you guys are being taken care of.
Oh, we are. Thank you. Any other questions? Great.
All right. Thanks, Erin.
You're welcome. Donna's next.
Donna.
All right.
Donna's got lots.
Yes, lots of updating. Tech services, we added just short of 1,400 materials over the summer. We had a couple months that were a little bit less than normal, but mainly because of summer reading programs and staff taking time off. So pretty normal for us. Plus we paused on ordering, so that slowed stuff down coming in. We've received a lot of positive feedback about Library of Things. Just while I'm at Reference in particular, I'm noticing a lot more people asking if we have things that they're looking for. Like my most recent one was a pair of binoculars, which we did have. I love it when we actually have it too. So that's been really great that people are knowing that it's here and asking us if we actually have specific things. We've also been taking requests, not necessarily that we can fill right away, but it's good to know what people are looking for too.
I also started to introduce, I did notice that there was an article done for the National Public Library about their Library of Things collection. So that may get a lot more people to call us and be like, do you have that? And so I have a feeling it's going to upsurge a little bit too from that. So thank you, National.
That's true. Just wanted to note that our transition to the new fiscal year went smoothly and we resumed ordering at the end of July on the 29th, which was probably a little bit later than normal for us, but we wanted to be certain that everything was good before we started. For outreach over the summer, we had staff representing the library at 3 concerts on the Common, which was great. We did one for each month. That was people were asking us to be at more, but that was kind of the maximum we could do with our staffing. Megan and Nate did a lot of attending the rec department's summer playground program. They went on Wednesday mornings for 4 weeks in the summer.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of kids.
We did. We did plan to do 5 weeks, but I was out sick because after that first week exposed all the germs. But we'll kind of plan for that next year.
And then we were at Old Home Day on August 17th. Also over the summer, we collaborated a lot with other departments and organizations. For community story time, we worked with the police department, the fire department, town manager's office, town council, senior center, and a local author to invite people to come read at that story time, and that went really well. We worked closely with the Arts Council to put on a concert on the Common for kids, which was the first one ever. And we had over 220 people attend.
Wow, that's awesome.
We consider it a great success.
And it was a beautiful day, thank
It was
God.
a beautiful day.
So gorgeous.
And they've already asked us if we'll do more next summer. So we'll consider that when we go to plan summer. Yeah. It was a lot of work for one, but
It was.
I really appreciated them helping us because they already knew the ropes and everything, so it was great. The Historical Society worked with us on Night at the Museum, which we held at the Aviation Museum of New Hampshire, and we got great feedback that everyone that attended really enjoyed it. Not as many people as we were kind of hoping, but
Well, the weather was
it was
great.
also tough weather-wise. We also noticed kind of a slowdown in attendance in August, which is pretty typical for us, but I was hoping we would get some people.
Yeah.
Then we worked with the Senior Center actually last week to have a book discussion there. We did one here and there, and it was really well attended, and participants asked for us to do that more. So
Awesome.
good feedback there. And then in September, Aaron and Matt are planning to represent us at the Senior Expo on September 21st.
And everyone can attend, so I encourage you to invite others to attend. There's going to be a lot more vendors. From what I understand, there's more vendors than there were from last year. So, and we're taking over more of the school. So it's going to be a great event. So
Great. And for meetings, I also attended several GMELC's group meetings, and I've been working very closely with the GMELC staff on data mapping, so I have had a lot of emails back and forth and meetings as well. And then I just wanted to note that at this point we've put in really a lot of time with them on the data migration and mapping. We're currently working on some data cleanup because when we did our first kind of test data extraction, they noticed some records and some barcodes that were issues, so we're working on solving that. However, we've been able to look at a test catalog, and it looks amazing. So while it's a lot of work, it is really exciting.
I mean, you don't have to get
Coming
out the
together.
hammer and the chisel anymore.
No.
it's really good. It's gonna be
So yeah, we've been searching and testing it out, and it's been great so far. So, and then I also want to mention that all the CIRC staff and reference staff also have received an initial circulation training with the GMELC staff just within the last couple weeks, and they will now have the opportunity. I've been arranging with other GMELC libraries to be able to get them to other libraries to shadow. So that now that they've seen what it looks like, they can actually go see it applied
live in person.
to real scenarios. So that will be very exciting, and yeah, I think that's it for me.
Questions?
And when did you sleep?
Yeah, right. That's a great question.
I just wanted to back up to your September outreach. Do I understand correctly
Yes.
that the budget committee is coming for a visit?
They are, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Want to share
This
with us
month.
when?
That's the great September.
September 19th.
I think it is the 19th.
the 19th.
19th, thank you. Yes, they will be here on the 19th. So I know Kim was planning to attend. I did mention that the chair was going to be there, or the co-chair. Okay, then if So, I believe it's a Thursday. But trustees are welcome to attend. I can send an email out with all the information and time, just in case they have questions for you guys. You're welcome to attend. It's not required, but I just plan to give them a tour of the building and talk about the library. So I don't imagine it taking too long. They were going to come. He's going to let me know. I think it was, but they said, I think he said there was maybe about 10 people from their group coming. So, yeah. So it'll be a good time. Thank you.
I have a question about your, the people reading from the fire department and things like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Did those get recorded by any chance?
No. No, none of our programs are currently recorded.
Well, especially because of the children.
Yeah, we try to protect children's privacy by not taking.
Right, but if you focus on the person who's doing the reading.
Well, some of the kids go up and stand with them.
It's
There's
also a
also-
matter of the copyright of the, having
Of the
the
book.
Of the book.
author's, the publisher's permission, so.
Well, I'm just thinking if you're looking for ways to connect with and expand with the schools, if some of those people were reading the book and you got permission from whoever you need to get permission to do and can do it, maybe we can have it done when there are no children, they could read it a second time or something.
Sure.
But that would, provide a way that perhaps those, the CDs or whatever could be used by teachers in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And so it might give a kind of a double bump for some of them.
Okay, thank you. That's a good idea.
Yep.
And we have Megan here. She can tell her report.
All right, so I was really excited to see the museum's passes were really popular this summer. For June, July, and August, there was a total of 378 passes given out, which I think is a huge success for our pass program. Our most popular passes were the aquarium and Zoo New England. They're pretty much the highest ones every month anyway, but they got phenomenal use. But I did also want to note that the New England Aquarium is going back to their pre-COVID program, which means that their library passes will only be available from September through May. So they do still get decent usage during the rest of the year, but the aquarium won't be offering the summer passes.
It lasted longer than I thought to.
It really did. I thought they might go forward and continue, but that's okay. The last few years we've enjoyed it, and now we're going back. We also had a lot of visitors. We had 22,395 people come to the library during June, July, and August. That's 40% of our total visits for this year to date, from January to August. So you can see that is our busiest time. It always is a really good uptick, but this was 7% higher than last year, which is a really considerable number, I think. We felt it was a lot more, but but everybody
And
seemed
that's
to be.
during fewer hours, too.
Yeah.
So we did have through just I listed some of the popular searches. I think that's a fun statistic to see. You don't necessarily see that all the time, but it's what people are looking up in the catalog. So Kristen Hanna, no surprise there. Colleen Hoover, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Women by Kristen Hanna, which I think right now is like across the board, like library wise, is like the most popular book.
Yeah.
We have 6 copies just of the regular
what's the
fiction.
name of the book?
The Women.
The
The
women.
women.
And then there was also the Swan Song by Elin Hildebrand. So these are no surprise to us as we talk to patrons all the time. These tend to be the more popular titles and authors. As we're moving closer to onboarding, we started sending out postcard reminders for patrons who currently have accounts with us but don't have their new library card, so we have our
I'm going to
mailers.
pass this around. This is the, sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
This is the postcard mailing out. We put an address with a stamp, but you'll see the message that's on the sticker that we put on the message. So these have been, we're working on getting those out.
So they're going out in waves, but they are going to just residents, so it's not anybody's specific name. And it's one per household, so we're not sending like 5 to one house. It's going one per house. So if by chance the people who used to live there moved, maybe the new people will come in. And we started sending them out last week, and we've already had many people come in this week, Saturday and today. So it is working.
Well, it's also school starting. You've got additional library cards.
Exactly. So we're really excited about that, which goes into our Granite State Library Card Challenge. We will be doing that again this year. It's pretty easy and fun for us to do. We just have to tell them the numbers at the beginning of September and the numbers at the end of September. They do all the math over in Concord. And we're hopeful. We always are. We're usually up there, but not all the way. So we're hoping this year it coincides really well with going on to GMilk. So we're like, maybe. And if the winner gets a trophy, and that would be really fun to have.
So if you know someone who doesn't have a library card, come get it, because it'll help with our challenge.
And then the teen services, our community puzzle has been so popular. You see people of all ages at it. So I introduced a community puzzle over the summer in the teen section. So tend to be the simpler puzzles, 300 and lower, compared to the 500 plus puzzles that we put at the main one. And we've had a lot of people sitting there, a lot of the teens, but like families and people of all ages. So it was great. So in July and August, when we introduced this, we had 6 puzzles that were put together, which is really great. And then I did talk about the recreation department collaboration. Everyone had a really great time, and we're hopeful to do it next year to work with the playground. And then in teen services display, we have it's focusing on mindfulness and as kids are going back to school, so anxiety, things like that. So there's a few fiction titles and nonfiction titles in there, and then we have some color your own folders so they can just color, and it's very calming, and some fidget toys of various small puzzle things and different fun things. We did have a decent turnout of teens in our summer reading program. It was 116. It's a little bit lower than last year, I think by 10. And they read over 500 books, which was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And which is great. It was a little bit of a trend across the board. I did go to a teen net meeting with GMilks, and everybody was pretty consistent that registration for teens was lower than average this year, and program participation kind of was all over the place, but it was a common trend. But we did have some very popular programs. They were more of the workshop-based programs that I tried this year. They were very excited. We had the spa day. We had a wait list, which was exciting. I'm like, I've never had a wait list before, so that was great. We'll be doing another spa day in the spring. Then decorating cupcakes, DIY board games, so everybody just had a really great time.
Awesome. Any questions for Nikki?
Just, I know we discussed this a little bit last time, but it would really be nice to have, the numbers for the specific programs. Even if it's just, we planned on 20 and we got 16, or we planned on 20 and we got 35, or whatever. Just, even if we have a clicker that we could, get, or something that could be used, because I think it's, in order to really show the impact of the programs, the number of people involved in the programs as you go forward, because quite a bit of money gets spent on the presenters oftentimes, especially for the outside presenters that come in and do programs. And so I really encourage us to figure out a way to do that, get some kind of more numbers on the program, because that's going to help with helping people understand the importance of programs in helping the library transition to the 21st century library versus the 19th century library model.
So I believe it was in June, the board agreed that the staff could present the full year's list of program attendance in February?
January or February,
Well, it wouldn't be ready for June.
No, that's right, it wouldn't be
It'd
ready
probably
for
be at the
February.
February
Yeah.
meeting that you'll get the whole list of each program, who attended, how many the program was open to for registration, like all those numbers.
Okay.
We're going to lay out.
That's great, so that we'll be able to look at what's trending, what's popular.
Yeah, it'll be like a bigger.
You know, what's working.
Yep.
Can I ask why the end of February versus the end of December? I don't remember that.
We don't have all the stats at the end of the December.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we won't have them all because if we have anything at the end of the year and then we've got to tally everything, we won't have it at the end of December.
Okay.
So
Just from the standpoint of the budget season, and they start asking the questions and stuff in November. So the more not ammunition, because we don't want to use those kind of words, but the more supporting information you have, the better. So as much as could be possible, and even maybe highlighting some of the things about, we had waiting lists, and we haven't had waiting lists before, those kinds of things would be good, because it makes it more accessible to folks in the community to be able to have that.
Programming is really, really important, and a lot of patrons have talked to me and said that, like, since after COVID, previous to COVID, they felt there was a lack of programming in specifically, they didn't feel like there was anything for the adults, and then they were just, but in general, programming, you guys have done so fantastic with programming. It has invigorated this library. This is a living library. This is a living thing. And when you have programs like that, and you have kids just coming in so happy to participate, the library becomes very important in their lives. And we want to continue that. So you guys are doing a great job. And the more that we can show that, we need money for these programs because they're working. I'd rather have kids off the streets and not, fighting in the playgrounds and, and stuff, and they're in here participating in programs and helping programs.
Jan, did you feel like you need that information like maybe twice a year versus once a year?
Well, just my concern would be to have at least some of the information, even if it's not complete information, just broken out before going to the budget meetings. Just from the standpoint, I think that that might come in handy during the pressure that oftentimes happens during the budget season. So that's my concern, is I'm not trying to push you guys to give incomplete data or to, but just it would be great even if we could only get the things that you want to tell us were special about the programs, the top 10 programs or whatever. Some way to encapsulate the impact of programs to the different age groups, or the successes with doing the different community groups, those kinds of things. A lot of them are in here, but they're in here now, but trying to remember in November when the pressure's on to cut, or whatever, it would be good to have those pieces to say, look, we're doing all these great programs, and we've got the library of things, and people are calling, and they want more stuff, and,
I
it would
agree.
be helpful.
That's a good idea to get it before that as well.
Yeah. So, that's
How about, my suggestion would be doing one calendar and one fiscal year.
Say that again?
My suggestion would be doing one spreadsheet based on the calendar year, January to December, and one based on the fiscal year, so July to June. And then you would receive
then you'd
it.
have some of the data.
Yeah. if that would work.
I think that would be good.
Yeah,
Because
you
the
have
budget
more current data
discussions
by-
are
yeah.
usually based on the fiscal year anyhow.
Yeah.
Right,
So you'd have the last fiscal year
Mhm.
to talk about the budget season.
yeah. I think that would be good. Because then it would give you the piece that, you'd have that be able to take. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's the last department report. Do you want me to speak to the committee? Or speak about the So the first committee I'll speak to is the Personnel Policy Subcommittee report. So Nancy, Aaron, and Donna met on July 17th to review the suggested changes. From the conversation I had with the town lawyer, her name is Liz Daly, on June 12th. The changes suggested are represented in the highlights throughout the policy. I did send this policy to the board with the suggested changes to all the trustees on August 30th, and also put a copy in your mailbox for you to be able to review. So we can discuss it further down under old business, but that's the subcommittee report. And then the budget subcommittee report for FY26, which we're working on. Over the summer, the budget subcommittee met 2 times, June 22nd and August 19th. In the first meeting, it was Kim, Aaron, and Donna, and in the second meeting, it was Kim, Nancy, Aaron, and Donna. In the second meeting, Donna and I presented to the subcommittee our recommendations for the FY26 budget. So up to you if you'd like to review these now. But I would like to have another meeting to discuss any changes that the board has at this meeting and present it to the board for final approval at the October meeting. So we need to have kind of that in place for the October meeting. We can certainly discuss the budget if you'd like. I do want to make one comment regarding the subcommittees. Donna, if you don't want me to speak for you, that's fine. I personally was very frustrated with the subcommittees because you guys asked to have them, which we respect and we agree with, and I found it to be very helpful having these subcommittees. However, it was discouraging when we set the times and we communicate to everybody about the subcommittee dates and very few responses back that they were confirmed, and sometimes people didn't show. And that is frustrating when we adjust our schedules to do this for the board, and it's very helpful for us and we have no problem doing it, but out of respect, it would be nice if there was the same commitment that you guys asked for to attend. That's all I'm going to say. But if you'd like to discuss the budget, we can. Yes?
Sure.
Okay. So in your packet it's just a back and front of the suggested changes for the FY26 budget. I would like to say in the highlighted lines, we do not have those numbers yet complete from, some of those numbers have to come from the finance department. So we're kind of in a hold right now for some of those numbers. So they're not definite, but we imagine they would be more definite as we get closer to the October date. There may be some changes after the October date, but we don't have control over the kind of the medical stuff, or the retirement rather, Social Security. So in October, one of my suggestions is that the board can approve it, and also with any changes that the town does give us. So again, we have no control over that stuff. So anything you'll see in the red are the line items that we did make changes to in the subcommittee. And certainly anybody who attended the meeting is welcome to speak to anything, but I can review them. We've made a change in legal. That line was 0. We added $2,000 to that line. I can go through all of them and then we can discuss each one or discuss them if anybody has questions. Printing, we did a $1,000 increase. This line does have the copier lease, so we anticipate that going up. The dues and subscriptions, that is changed due to the GMILKs will be a full year of membership, so that's where that change came into. The seminars and workshops, we moved 1,000 of that, so it was 2,000, we moved 1,000 of that to the mileage line. which you'll see now has 1,000. We anticipate that being a little bit more busy with the meetings that we have with G-Milks. And you can speak up too. Postage, we actually decreased that by $367. So we anticipate, less mailings for overdue items, but also ILLs. So we're hoping that comes through. The books and periodicals line, we did increase that to increase it up to $100,000, which is a $10,000 increase from FY25. This, we kind of anticipate higher costs with books and materials, which actually is already happening, so good luck to us. Furniture, we would like to add $2,500 to that line, which originally was $0. We would like to start to gradually replace some of the worn furniture that we have, some of the outdated furniture that we have in the library. We've had some chairs kind of break over time and just out of wear and tear. So we'd like to start that process. We know that this obviously isn't going to do the whole library, but if we can start in certain areas and kind of start updating, we would like to be able to do that. So that's the changes there. I don't know if any members from the subcommittee would like to speak to it, but if anybody has any questions, happy to answer.
I had a question for the legal. Didn't we take out legal to make the $30K reduction for last year?
Yeah, yes, but we are putting it back in.
Okay.
And then again, that's for an increase 91A request.
Okay.
So we talked about that, and I looked at it, and I was like, $0. So every time we call, the attorney, the town attorney, just for advice or guidance on the policy, we get charged. So every time there's a 91A and we have to, speak with an attorney, there's a charge. So we thought that it would be fiscally prudent to at least have something in that line item as opposed to $0. So the following year, we don't have like a deficit and people go, what's the matter with them? Can't they manage their budget, So we felt that it would be better to have a figure than no figure, particularly since, we've had multiple conversations with our attorney. So that was
I did reach out to, at your request, to Justin in finance to ask how much the library had paid in legal last year. He is getting me those numbers, so I will have them as soon as possible.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting figure.
Yep, so that might be something we can work with as well. One of the things I forgot to mention, and my apologies, because this is a big one, you'll see in regular salaries that increase is hopefully due to us getting a full-time children's librarian. The need for that is very important. That is the department that has that's not the only department, but it's a department that has no additional professional staff, which is challenging when we're presented with even vacation or sick time or just the workload that is on our department head. A lot of the programming we do is children's programming. Those are where those numbers are. So I think it would be a real benefit to the community to have a full-time children's librarian in there that could assist with planning and all things in the children's room, essentially. The need is definitely there. It would be wise to have a professional librarian servicing that desk to help with patrons and readers advisory and sharing that knowledge that our staff, who is fantastic, don't get me wrong, and do a great job, but has that professional background and also can assist with programming. So
it's real important for the kids to have a consistent face too at that desk. Every time I go in there, but they're not wonderful, they're all wonderful. But it's someone different. And the kids really get to, they become like part of their family.
Yeah. So I
agree.
I do ask for the trustees' support in that. I think it's really important that we have someone in that space that can help out Jen, in my opinion.
So was there any thought put into if the town comes back again this year and asks to cut budget by a certain amount?
No, there was no thought in that. And that's not true. I did have a thought on that. Personally, I think I might have shared this at the meeting. I would speak to say that I don't think that we should be cut. We were the only department last year that got cut. by quite a significant amount. And if we are chosen again, I would definitely feel that there's some sort of, at least it feels to me, some sort of
Anti-book.
personal or whatever library attack, that's what it would feel like. I don't think we deserve to get cut again. I think what our requests are fair and really focused on service. There's nothing in this budget that speaks to, in my opinion, excess. It's all about service and providing to the community. So I would ask the trustees, if there is a recommendation to have us get a cut, that they speak up and advocate for the library and advocate for the services here. And it's one thing if they're asking for that cut across the board. It's another when they ask for just one department. I strongly feel that that is not fair.
I'm just curious because, I mean, there's a good chance that if they ask all departments, across the town to cut down, especially with the Moose Hill project trying to get pushed through, I just wanted to make sure that there was kind of a plan B, kind of looking ahead just in case.
I think if that's the case, we would need to know how much the expectation is, and we would have to take a look at the budget and see what that looks like. But I absolutely strongly do not feel that it would be fair if they asked us again to cut and did not ask another department.
It was only the library last year, wasn't it?
It was.
I don't remember.
Yeah, well,
It was.
originally,
It absolutely
when they were
was.
having the original
Yeah.
discussions, they were talking about they were going to take it from everybody.
And they did
But
not.
but it became a...
No other
yeah.
department was cut.
Right.
So if you want the library to continue with the services that are expected of us, there has to be some sort of support of the budget, and there has to be increases. There's no way around it. You can't continue expecting more but providing less. Or less with us to do it.
I was just thinking, for, the replacement of furniture, that's kind of it would be nice to have, but if that's something that needed to get cut, it could. I mean, obviously, if
Of course it could,
if there's
yeah.
something that's
Yeah,
dangerous.
so,
we
you know.
Of course it could, but
Versus the programming, versus other programs or something. If you had to make a choice between $2,500 coming out of programs or $2,500 for furniture,
A want versus a need.
Well,
thing.
it's a one person. Please go ahead.
My thing with that is that the longer you delay even putting a small amount of money into that, the larger the cost is going to need to be all at once, because we're facing a situation where our addition had all new furniture in it at the same time. So potentially all of that furniture is going to break and fall apart and wear down at the same time because it was all purchased at the same time. So if we get ahead of that,
30.
It's 30 years?
yes, yeah.
Oh.
If we get ahead of that and can start replacing
just yesterday.
slowly, we don't have to request a huge amount of money at once to replace everything at once. So that's the only thing with cutting that. Yes, it can probably be cut, but the longer you delay it, the worse it's going to be later on.
No,
And I do
get
think it's fiscally responsible for us to do that, is to put that money and start that process, as opposed to doing it all at once and asking for a larger amount of money, which would be more difficult to obtain to replace that. And, I don't, the want and need is frustrating to me, but furniture is a need. People need to sit. People need to read and sit places, and
got
people need to be
standing desks.
provided.
I'm not
So
saying anything against
with
that.
22,000 visitors, things wear down and things use. So I do think that is a need. I think it's a slow need where we do it over time, but I do think it's a need. I think we can't start removing furniture that's broken and not replacing it.
I guess I personally think that we've got a big bill coming in this year for G-Mills, okay, that we never had before, or we had a small, okay? Maybe for the first year to get people over that hump of that, $52,000 or something, we don't put in furniture for just one more year? Can we defer it that? I just think the perception is we're now coming forward for that more lump of money, for more money, that if we can at least try to, in any other way, cut back a little bit.
If I may, just so you are more aware, we have had 2 children's room chairs have to be thrown out because they broke and were not replaced. We've had 2 of these tables break this year as well due to overwhelming use. So we are seeing that they're starting to break down, which is why we're putting the number in now.
And it's also a safety issue too, if you've got chairs that are going to fall apart when the children are in it. So I'm just saying, the whole town is going to be looking at their budget this year.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's things are tough. Things are really hard right now. And, we know we're going forward. We went forward with Gmails, which is a wonderful product but yes, it's a big hit all at once for people, the budget department committee to look at that. And maybe, maybe furniture is not where you want to make the cut, but I don't know where else you could make the cut,
I totally understand what you're saying, and I absolutely agree with you. The Gmails is a big ticket item this year. I still stand by it. I stand by with what we'll be able to offer. If the board feels that the furniture line should be removed, I will obviously obey and follow them. But I do want it to be recognized that is going to be an issue. It will be an issue and it will need to be addressed.
And you're doing your job by bringing it forward.
Of course, we're bringing forward the needs. That's what we're doing. We're bringing forward the needs that are necessary to keep this building and the services going as expected. Not even more. This is as we can do right now.
The next chair that breaks, say it so we can take it to budget committee.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Madam Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I had a question for you because we're talking about the budget and I think it's an important component. And I think there are going to be a lot of questions that come up about this. But how much outreach have you done for receiving grants to cover some of these line items like furniture? Because police, fire, those departments do get substantial grants. So I'd like to know what you have done to try and either get donations from companies or discounts or things of that nature, because the police, the fire department, they bring that to the table and they talk about that. So I think you need to also talk about what things you've done as far as this goes. And I'd actually like to know, because if you're adding a librarian, which I believe has to be a warrant article, there will be also potentially some additional, from the way I understand it, the town is not necessarily going to charge you, but there could be other benefit costs. Is that not correct?
Well, they would receive full benefits just as any full-time employee.
So that's not, what you're seeing is not a loaded
No,
cost.
that's just the annual salary to the employee
Right, yes.
for that. So there would be additional costs due to health insurance. And
Right. Is that accounted for in this?
Please, do they have a grant writer?
The
They
town,
share services?
so the town does hire a grant writer, to my knowledge. The difference between police and fire, the grant options for them are larger, one, because of the job that they do. I have reached, for coming up, we're going to be talking about a picnic table. I reached out to 2 large companies in town asking for a donation. I was denied both. I have reached out to the friends who don't have enough money to do it. They can't help. There are certainly grants out there. We have applied for
a swish.
I'm sorry?
Maybe it could be shaped like a swish.
We have applied for grants in the past. That's how we got the handicap doors. That's how we got some of, I believe, the Library of Things collection was through a grant. So we have done grants. That's not our issue. But I have no problem applying for them. But at the same time, we're a town building just like any of the other buildings, and I think the town should support furniture in that case for that building. But I have no problem applying for grants and looking for other opportunities if you guys decide to make that a line of 0. That's fine.
Well, you're not wrong in that regard, but there are other libraries in the state that do 100% fundraising, and the budget committee is going to be aware of that. So I do hope that you have something to.
What libraries do 100% fundraising?
The libraries that do 100% fundraising are not public
They're private,
libraries.
they're private.
They're nonprofit.
At the NHLTA, they talked about this, and they said there are some libraries that
There
get
are.
zero funding from the town.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
so
are typically
would love
funded
to
by a
know which
large
ones.
trust fund.
And I included a packet, I emailed it to everybody from the NHLTA on
Did
the
it have,
budgeting
did it
stuff.
have specific
And
libraries?
I actually think it wouldn't be terrible to, have them come in and, give ideas regarding that too.
So they are
Because we only have
they're
6 hours.
501c3 nonprofits. They are not funded by their towns. An example is the Conway Library. They receive funding from a large trust fund donor. So they were established with a large trust, and they are able to continue sustaining themselves from the trust plus additional funds. So it's not the same. They often can't even follow the same things that municipal libraries do because they fall under a 501c3. So that model doesn't represent us. I don't think, not that their knowledge on libraries couldn't help us, but the way they're funded is not the same.
I agree with you on that, yeah.
We don't
The thing is,
have a
too,
trust fund to rely on.
This is infrastructure. We're talking about infrastructure of the town. This library belongs to the town.
Correct.
Everything in the library belongs to the town. It's infrastructure. This town needs to keep infrastructure safe and, viable.
Right, but if we can save money if we can save some money to the taxpayers by getting a grant or getting some type of donation, wouldn't that show the taxpayers that the library is trying to be fiscally responsible and trying to get something free or at a discount versus
Maybe it's trying to tag onto that town grant writer. If the town already gets a grant writer, maybe it's trying to get the.
That'd be lovely.
Well, if
I
it's
don't know if there's a cost to write for that. I have to look into that.
okay.
So in terms of fiscally responsible, I actually think that new furniture is fiscally responsible because I work in private industry. I work in the world of sue, sue, sue. And all we need is one person to have a catastrophic fall out of a chair and sue us, and we can kiss all of our lovely programming goodbye. So I think you're right. We have to take care of what we have. This is part of our physical structure. And so I think that it's a responsibility of us and the library to make sure that all of our patrons are safe.
I agree.
The town does carry liability insurance model too.
Well, I know, but do you really want to get sued?
No. but
Right.
it's
I don't
there.
either.
But I
Because
mean,
usually it's beyond liability. They'll speak. And I
It's
speak
injuries,
from- I speak from personal experience. It goes far beyond liability.
Mental strain and anguish. Now we can't look at a book without
Correct.
being upset.
Where's that?
Well, that's the kind of thing that happens with the mental, pain.
No, I know. but if that was all it took.
Where are we?
One other thing I really feel like I need to say is, I don't think something like getting furniture. These guys work their butts off to keep this building going, and for them to have to try to look for avenues to get a free chair somewhere. I don't know. So I don't know if the board needs to step up, if the library's friends, someone needs to step up. I mean, it gets to the point where how much more are you going to ask of them? They're being fiscally conscious by putting it into a budget, okay, and going with that route. And I mean, I'm sure. I mean, every other department in this town, I'm sure, is getting
And yet
what
more
they
furniture
need.
than $2,500.
They're getting
furniture.
more. They're getting what they need to keep running, and we need to keep this library running and healthy.
A couple of things. One, I apologize for not making any of those meetings because between moving and having COVID this summer again, I was planning on being there Tuesday, and then it was already Wednesday, and I'm like, what was that meeting? Oh, it's not here. Yeah, I already went by that. So I apologize for that. Second, I think it would be good to have a, not a worst case scenario, but if we had to cut the same kind of thing that we had to cut last year, if this is what they were requesting, let's say across the board.
Contingency
But,
plans.
yeah,
Yeah.
what it would look like. Oh, if we have to go to summer hours during the school, during this school year, this is, this would save this much, but here's the problem. I think that having the specific things that would have to be cut to in order to accomplish that, so that up front, when they start talking about it, you already know the impacts, maybe by $10,000, $10,000 increments. If we had to do this, well, there goes X number of Saturdays a month, or there goes, the number of the half days on only having half days on Saturday, and there goes
Or
having.
more realistically, closing Saturdays altogether.
Yeah.
Right. So, so that's what I'm saying is, not that I want you to plan to have that problem, but I think if you come up with, for each of the different areas, what would it look like in technology if you have to take 10% of what you're putting for technology? If you take that away, what's that going to look like? So that as they make requests, if they were to make requests, that you already have, this is how it's going to impact the program. This is how it's going to impact what,
So I hear everything that everyone's saying, and my recommendation was to take all of those recommendations from you guys and meet as a subcommittee again, and then we can put together that contingency plan like you had mentioned, and review some of, possibly taking out furniture, if the subcommittee can meet about that, and then bring that to the board in October. Is everybody okay with that? Is that something that
Sounds good.
is everybody okay with? Okay.
And I think that really, we need to be prepared so that when the budget committee comes in and looks extensively at this, okay, you can take away this, but if you do, this is what you're going to lose. The
Well,
town's
and
gonna lose.
I do have to say, you guys were elected with the intent that you would support the library and its mission. And I do ask that if there is a cut, even if it is across the board, that you speak up and you say that, what this is going to look like for the library and how that impact happens as well. Because we can say it all day long, how we, we struggle to make this happen, or, if we cut the budget, then this will happen. But they're not listening to us. They didn't listen to us last year. So I would ask that the trustees who are elected and who are supposed to advocate for their elected position to go and speak to that, and speak to the support, and speak to the advocacy of our library.
And that's
I think
fair.
that's very
You
important.
should. That's very fair for you to ask, yes.
Because none of that happened last year.
Yeah.
We were cut $30,000 and nobody spoke. I mean, I think maybe you came, but that was it. And it was discouraging when you have people who are elected to support your library, to support what you're doing, and then don't show. That's discouraging. It's discouraging to the staff, I'll tell you that.
Were the staff there?
What, at the meetings?
Yeah.
No, but they read some of them were actually, and they read the minutes.
Well, what about Justin Campo? Does he normally meet with the trustees board?
Not in the past, not since I've been here, and I don't think in the past. We usually present our budget, well, we've met with him, did we meet with him prior last year? We did, we met with him prior, like when the trustees approved the budget, we did meet with him, and I believe the town manager, to go over it. But he didn't meet with the
numbers,
trustees.
right?
I'm sorry?
He's doing part of these numbers for you, right?
He does the, like all the
other
social
ones.
security, the Medicare, all those ones. Well, he doesn't do them, he gets numbers from the state too. It's not up to him.
Could he be present at the next meeting? Just so if there's questions that come up, we don't have to wait or have another special meeting.
I can certainly reach out to him and ask him if it's something that he would like to do. Sure. Justin? I don't know.
just have him adjust his schedule.
I would ask if he does come, and maybe we move that to maybe the beginning of the meeting so that he doesn't have to, I know he has a young family, so I wouldn't want him to stay too late, but we can work on that next time.
We're trying.
No, I didn't mean to speak to tonight, I just meant to speak to.
And the other thing, when we were talking about like the grants and stuff, like for instance, we have Oscar now, but, you know, you've got the vet who's offsetting costs, and you've got, you know, so highlighting that particular thing, because somebody's going to say, well, now you have a pet. You know, we need to have a pet, you know, okay, well, yeah, but we've done the following things have happened
To help with
to
that.
offset the pet.
Right.
So it's not like we've said that we're taking, you know, books out of children's hands in order to have Oscar. We're going to have Oscar to encourage kids to read, but you've also got community support for Oscar, and that's the important part. So anytime you can point to the community support or can point to how you've offset funds is a good thing, like the grants, if there were grants.
Okay.
And again, people have to realize that right now is an austere area time that, you know, there's a lot of money that's, you know, people don't have. But the thing is, they have to realize that they're going if we lose money, then the town's going to lose services. And that's, you know, and it's going to be in hours. It's going to be, you know, we're not a frivolous group here. You know, we don't just have these, you know, give away a vet a month or something. I don't mean I mean a car, not a person. So I would consider my husband if we get rid of enough money on him. But the thing is that, you know, I mean, we're just going to have to all stand solid that you want to cut. We understand you have to cut. Understand that we have to cut services, times, etc.
All right.
You know, and so much of our salary is you're locked in. There's nothing you can do. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you're going to start buying books now, you know? Because you can't, what are you going to do? Reduce your salaries? You can't. So.
Well, we'll lose staff. Staff won't be able to work here because that goes someplace else.
Right.
Yeah.
So we will have another. I'll reach out to the budget subcommittee and we'll have another meeting to review those suggestions, and we'll bring them back to October.
Okay.
And I will also reach out to Justin. So we'll move on to GMO's update. Okay, so we're in old business on GMO's update. Donna had mentioned about shadowing other libraries. Yep, and so she also did a frequently asked questions sheet. It is in your packet, so Donna's going to speak to that.
Yep, so there's two things in your packet. The first is a handout. It's like this. This is actually what's going out to patrons. We are distributing this at the time of checkout. So I just wanted you to make sure that you knew what was going out to patrons. So just gives a brief explanation of what Gmail is. Explains that during data migration we're going to be closed for we're planning to be closed for 1 day, which is the day you all approved to use as a staff development day, October 17th. And then we are going to be open with limited services from the 18th through the 26th. Limited services means that the catalog will not be available for renewals and reserves. We are hoping to have it available to staff for searching purposes, but we're not certain that's going to work yet. But aside from that, we won't even be able to, people can return things, but we are actually going to be storing them in here while we're down, and then we're going to have to check everything in a huge batch when we're back up. So the only thing that we're able to do really at the desk technology-wise is check out. And that's only because Gmail has a great offline service that allows us to do that. So that's what we're putting out there for that. We are, due to the training aspect, we are going to pause interlibrary loan requests and purchase requests. So we're not going to be ordering or processing interlibrary loans, mainly so that staff can focus on learning the system before we add on more. So we will accept the requests, but we're not going to actually do anything with them until we're back up late October, early November. We expect that October 28th will be what I'm calling the live date. It could actually be before that. However, the 28th is the day that we're most comfortable putting out there that we're going to be up and live. At that point, patrons will be able to log into the new catalog, Their current login will no longer work. They're going to have to use their library card number and the last 4 digits of the phone number that we have on file. Yes, the new library card number. We are working on some instruction sessions so that patrons can actually come to like a program where we're going to teach how to use the catalog and get them more familiar with how to do stuff with Gmails. And then I included some frequently asked questions on the right side. The big one to know is that the new system is not going to store patron checkout history. So we're not moving any of that over. So if anybody does want us to print out their history for them, they will have to ask us to do that by October 14th.
Sounds good.
And then the other document is actually a printout of what's available on the website as of today. So this is like a longer frequently asked questions that's available under our news section. And if anyone has anybody that reaches out to them and has questions that are different from this, I'm absolutely happy to add things to it. So it's kind of a working webpage. So yeah, but all of that's available to the public now.
Is there anything that we can do as volunteers or whatever to help during this month transition? Is there anything, boxing up books, is there anything that we physically can do that normally your folks would be doing, but you're now going to be focusing on other things? Is there things that we can do to help?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I can't think
about it.
I can't think of it, but we can certainly get back to the group and let them know. Yeah.
Because,
I mean, this is a new thing for us too, so.
Right. So if there's something, if there's stuff that needs to get run through or something or whatever, okay, just show us how to do it, and or if we need to bag the books up and carry them over here because they're going to be stored over here, we can do that.
Okay.
But whatever we can do, let us know, and we'll see what we can do. Because that's.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate that. Thank you.
Do you think that we could do the flood and other, and then come back to the personal one?
Sure.
I just think that's.
Yeah, okay. So the flood update, we heard back from insurance, and the town will be getting a payment of $32,360.08 to replace the damaged items. The payment for the ceiling tile replacement and the Servpro is already paid through them, so that $32,000 will be able to go. The use of that money is not just a free-for-all. We can't use it to buy furniture.
I thought of that. I was thinking that.
It has to be used on replacing the damaged items.
Yes.
So we do have a list that we are working on that very happily Megan was able to put together at the time of all the things happening when we got flooded. So we are working on that list, going through our vendors, trying to get what we can replaced and added back to the collection. So it's thankfully we have the 2 years. Yes, that's in my other folder. Hold on. Pause. Do you have them?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, we anticipated that Primex would not give us the full amount of the value, what the amount we lost was valued at, which is exactly what happened. So we worked with Justin at the end of last fiscal year because we thankfully had some money left in our budget that we were able to encumber $20,000 from the fiscal year 24 budget. And I honestly would say that is really a reflection of Aaron's very conservative spending, the fact that we had that left over. So
we didn't lose it. It got put aside to help with.
Correct. So that will be used to go
Again, being
to supplement the insurance payment.
And again, that goes to the top of the, here's what we did to help save money. But besides the Oscar people, we did that. If we could just get the roof to stop leaking, we'd be all happy.
Right?
If you don't talk about it, it won't. Yeah, so that's our flood. Thank you, Donna. That's our flood update. Do you want me to continue to go on? Just and then that-
Yeah.
Okay. So meeting recordings, and thank you, Kirsten, for being here because she might speak to if you guys have any questions. She did share with me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or right when I speak, that Drew over at Cable has confirmed that this room is not set up for recording. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is
Thank
not
you very
currently set
much.
up for
You can
recording.
share that with
So
your...
I can share that with my anonymous person in the room today.
Too bad you don't know who they are.
So,
We
so
have
there
to
are
put stickers
options.
on all the doors, you know, or-
There are options for when we talked about the recording the meetings, which Kirsten shared with me. One is that we can install a brand new system in the meeting room. That would cost around $3,500. I do have my reservations about this as speaking to the privacy of children. We have a lot of, basically, I think majority of our children's programs are in this room. So I do have some reservations having recording equipment in this room. We could also reserve the Sunnycrest room, which we spoke some of these at the last meeting, reserve the Sunnycrest room for the same day we meet now. However, that is the smaller of the rooms at Town Hall, which could present a challenge if we have for public comment. Or even our group, we have a big group. We could also reserve the Moose Hill room, which is the larger room, for a different day. Or we could do recordings as we do now on the little tape recorder and then upload those to our website, and that would be a free service. So did I misspeak on anything?
No, not at all. Do
Okay.
you want me to elaborate a bit more on the
Absolutely,
recording?
please do. Yep.
So since the town has moved to recording all of its meetings, we have so many meetings, we can't have them all in Sunnycrest and Moose Hill right now. For example, for Thursdays for this month, we're making use of 3 different conference rooms almost every Thursday. So what we've started doing is we have started audio recording those meetings, and we have a very similar audio recorder to the one that Donna uses here. We record it, we turn that audio into a video with a static image, so it just says the name of the meeting, you know, like Beautified Londonderry, August 37th, whatever, I don't remember the last date. And I deliver those to Drew, and Drew uploads them onto the cable website. So they are viewable on TV. It's a very boring visual experience, but the audio is there. Whereas you already do that, you know, we have the software to do that already. We have the capabilities to transfer it. I'm working with Tom on an easier system so that I can get them to Drew without having to do flash drives back and forth. You know, we're all on the same server network, so if we do a shared folder, we can just simply put them in the folder, and then Drew and Aaron can take them out. Other Aaron, not your Aaron. So that has been our solution when we have to have meetings where we cannot do video recording.
And we're fiscally responsible by not.
So, Kirsten, I just want to clarify. So those recordings would not be on the town website, they would be on the cable
They're housed on
website.
the cable website along
Okay.
with all our other cable recordings of every other meeting, same place.
Got it.
Thank you.
So now that a larger and larger percentage of folks in town are not using cable. so they-
Cable is still live streamed on the website as well.
Okay.
It's not
Yeah.
cable.
It's not
Like you said.
cable
Okay.
access, yeah, so cable access is not just broadcast on the TV. All the recordings are also available for streaming on demand on the cable access website.
Okay.
They're very
They
easy
can
to
also go on,
find,
they can go on YouTube as well. We have YouTube as well. So we don't put every single thing on YouTube, but everything we record does go on the cable access website where they're all available for streaming on demand on there.
Okay, well, at some point we should have.
I would like to speak, I know last time we were talking about this, and we did bring up the moving to, going to town hall options, and there was some reservations, I think you might have spoken to that, regarding leaving the library, how we would like to be here. So I'm just reminding of that conversation again, and then by having the recordings, as we spoke of on the cable option, I think is an excellent solution to providing those recordings, and still obviously with no cost and still staying here in the library. But certainly it's up to the board.
I mean, I would agree with that. This is
I
the
would too.
library, you know, we want people to come here. And I would certainly not spend $3,500 for recording equipment before we spend spent $2,500 for chairs that are gonna break when somebody sits in them. So,
Well, especially since there is a free option that I think is being used by other departments, it makes sense that we kind of tack on to that as well.
I think it's reasonable that we're following the guidelines of the town.
I agree.
Yeah, similar
You know, and
procedure.
so that's all we're gonna do.
And we're also
prefer to
listening
get
to
to go
the,
to
we're
town
also
hall.
listening to the voters.
Yeah.
Because the voters wanted to be, our meetings to be accessed. So, I mean, we're responding in a positive way to the
Yes.
advisory article, and they can access, you know,
The meeting information.
Should we, for purposes of just showing,
It's not
raise our hands,
think-
anyone who agrees that that's the route we're going to go?
Yeah, I think we need to have a
We need to
motion,
make-
just
yeah, we
to
need
have
to
it in the
make a
minutes
motion.
and decide what we want to do.
So, Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we retain our meetings here in the library and use the suggestion of Kirsten and have our minutes available online.
I second that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I still
I
prefer to
think
go
we
to
had
town
one
hall.
close.
Can I ask why? Like what?
Just because it's physically recorded, people can see, I think people get a better connection.
So it's the video, if you want the video too?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify, I didn't know if it was like the space or,
No,
okay.
no.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the vote count.
Yeah, I have a question.
6-1.
When you, with your motion, are you saying that we're going to upload the recordings online as?
What did she say?
Listed?
The audio, it was the audio.
The audio?
The audio.
So it'll be audio over a
Over the static
over
image.
a static video. Hold on one second.
So you'll be able to listen, so when you look at the screen, you'll see the Leach Library logo, trustees board meeting,
And the date.
September, this time, and you'll just hear the meeting. There won't be any visual, but our logo will stay there the entire time the meeting is, you're hearing it, if that makes sense.
Okay, so that would be on the
On the
town.
cable
all right,
website, yep, which is through
do
the
you want a
town.
visual? I have a visual.
Sure, yeah.
Yes.
So to give you an idea, this is, so on our town website, there's the Access Center website.
Yep.
So it's a link on the homepage. This is where all of recordings are stored and are available for streaming. So you can see the Old Home Day recordings, right? This one was recorded in room with the Sunny Crest. This one we weren't able to record visually, so this is just the first one I thought of.
This is helpful.
Let me turn the volume off. So we can get started. We'll just go around and say who's my here, annoying who's voice right here. Kirsten Helden and staff.
Cool staff.
Yeah,
Harrison,
So
Lyons.
you got yours.
We'll go with that.
Manny Harrison, baby contest.
And so I just did a roll attendance through it. And it plays out the whole meeting. It's all 35 minutes of that meeting. That was a short one.
So will you guys make the little thingy?
The card?
We don't have to make the little
I
thingy?
mean, I like you guys, so I can make that. But Megan is, I have to say, Megan does
She loves
really cool
that
library
stuff.
visuals, so you want her to do that. But
The books are going to be going like this, aren't
I do think if we do the as recommended here, that we should be more mindful of saying our names and so that it's clear
Who's
to the
here and
listener
things like
because
that. Yes,
they may
that's
not know our voices and that's
Right,
fine. So
that's true.
I think a roll call would be helpful. I think saying our names like,
As
when
we
you're
say-
speaking,
say something, yes.
so that it's more helpful to the listener. I think that would be
And
great.
when people make motions, you say motion by, seconded by, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you have anybody who, if it's not a unanimous vote, you say who voted which way. You can do roll calls if you want, it's not required.
It's not a bad idea.
But yeah, so, and it's, like I said, I have the software on my computer to turn it into a video very quickly. There's also free programs out there that have limited capabilities, but also if you send, I can work the technology side out with Donna and Megan.
You could have an Oscar and a video of Oscar along.
I just have a question regarding timing. So right now, we have available recordings from May onward, I believe. I need to double check that, but I basically want to know what date you want to start uploading. Do you want to upload what we have available already, or do you want to start with today's meeting going forward?
Because we voted, we have to start today.
It's today.
You want to start with
Yeah,
today's meeting?
it's not a
Yeah.
retroactive vote.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
No problem.
Thank you, Kirsten.
You're welcome.
So I don't think Laura
Yeah, sure. So if you, yeah. Just start for a second. So yeah, so the website, the Access Center website, if you go, let me actually just go back a couple ones. So on the town website, under Access Center on Demand, you can see all the different channels. This is where we keep all of our recordings anyway. So you can see the air schedule on the town. You can see like this is last night's utilities. This is everything the Access Center reports. Morrison House meeting, demolition review. So if you type in here and search, like I said, I just knew Old Home Day was one of the ones that I sent. So you can see when you do that, it comes up with everything that's at Old Home Day Parade, Old Home Day Committee from 8, whatever that date was, I was there, 8/8.
How it has that blue bar on the bottom, is that like closed, no, that's just the title thing.
Yeah, that's just
the
the
closed captioning?
Oh, it can do closed it can do the whatever the other ones do
Automatically.
Yes.
So we can get started, we'll just go around and say.
Sorry, I really hate my voice. So this one, so auto subtitles. Let's see if it does it. I don't see the closed captions coming up on here. I don't know why, but I don't think
It could be their phone.
any different than any other one here.
Like, it doesn't show up on the phone?
It's not coming up on my phone right now, but it doesn't.
I was just curious, yeah.
For accessibility, you bring up. So we don't actually have captions. You bring up an excellent point. That's part of a broader project that we're going to be dealing with. There is a requirement for all communities under 50,000 people on government and municipal websites have to be ADA compliant by April 2027. So, keep talking about website things along with that, or no?
That's up to the board if they want to move on.
I can give you a 2-sentence rundown.
Okay, that's fine.
Do we want to finish the vote on it?
Oh yeah, if you want to finish that, yeah.
Sorry.
We did vote.
We did
She had a question, she wasn't able to vote.
Oh, you didn't vote? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Okay, do we want to do the roll call again, or the vote again?
Let's do a roll call vote. Sure.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
I see your point on the visual, but if this is the only option we have, then I'll vote for that too.
So is that an aye?
Yeah.
Jen McLaughlin votes aye.
Aye. Liz Thomas was up.
I'm not against it, that's the video is just my preference, so whatever that's worth.
So 6-1.
Do you want Kirsten to continue to speak to?
My very quick spiel.
Yes.
Were the council approved funding from the Information Technology Capital Reserve Fund to update our website, to switch it to a newer platform. That process, it's going to be a 6 to 8 month process, working in conjunction with Civic Plus. I'm the project manager for the town for this. We had our kickoff meeting last Wednesday, and we're going to be entering some kind of more aggressive phases. Under this project, the Leach Library has a special page. It will look almost like it's its own website, but mirroring the town design. And this website will be 100% ADA compliant, and that's just kind of more when you're asking about captions, these are things that as we move to the new website we have to consider, because within the next 2.5 years we will be required under DOJ regulations to have them. So thank you for actually pointing out that they didn't. I never looked at that. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Do you want me to move along?
Yeah,
Okay.
records.
So we have a record retention policy that will need a vote. Don and I put together basically a kind of a quick, kind of easier understanding of our records and retention. All of this is in accordance with the RSA 33. We just kind of put it in a more kind of easier reading and referencing display. So you'll see that the 1-year retention, administrative correspondence, material request form, 3-year, and so forth. I'm just looking for the board to approve it. We have quite a few, I want to say bank statements, am I right to say that? That have been saved over
More than 20 years.
more than 20 years in the library that are taking up space. So we would like to move those along.
Can we throw them away?
We will be shredding them, yes. So this is just to help kind of create a policy around those types of things so that we can kind of control what our storage is due to the lack of storage. So,
What the town does right now?
so the town does not, my notes on that, I did check with the town. They do not have an official policy. However, they do follow the RSA. And I did speak to Justin, and he said sometimes he'll say, like, if the RSA says 1 year, he always says add a year to that just to be safe. It may depend on the documents. I don't know. I don't handle their documents, but I did check with him. They do not have an official policy, but they do follow the RSA. So we are also following the RSA. We just kind of pulled out library stuff and put it in a more kind of, like I said, easier referencing document. So I didn't know if anybody had any questions? Yes.
Since the library has been the traditional repository for like the Historical Society, do you offer them any opportunity to come in and look at stuff?
They have a historical room in the back of the building.
Okay, so do they get to look at, like, if we're doing meeting recordings now, would they get an opportunity to keep that stuff? Because I know they do go through them periodically to look at stuff from the 1800s and,
Well, all of our meeting minutes are printed and put in binders, so anybody can access those items. Those are in the reference department. In the historical room, to my knowledge, is more of history type documents, not necessarily town, like business documents. But anybody has access to the meetings in the physical form in our reference collection. But certainly the Historical Society is included in that.
Question, for the 6-year retention, the bank statements,
Yes.
doesn't the IRS usually say 7 years?
The RSA does say 6.
Okay.
Would you like a motion? Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we accept the Leach Library Records Retention Policy in accordance with RSA 33-A:3-A.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, thank you. Another policy in the book. So many. Do we want to go into new business?
Or do you want to back up first?
Oh, do you want to do personnel? That's fine. Okay, so as I mentioned, we had a personnel policy subcommittee meeting. Could go back to my notes. And I spoke to Liz Bailey, the town lawyer. I believe I was on the phone with her for an hour, going over some things. And let me just make sure I have all my notes available, just in case. And we reviewed the whole policy together. She shared with me her thoughts, and I did share them with the subcommittee. Went over all the highlighted items in the document that you see are the changes from that discussion. So I'm happy to address any questions. I know I gave this out ahead of time, so I'd like to not review each item, but just address any questions and then be able to vote. Like I said, this policy, once if approved, we will obviously be sharing with the staff, and then I will share with them any changes, and then this will be the new acting policy that we have until. I would also say that if it is approved, I don't see the need for the Personnel Policy Subcommittee to meet again unless something comes up. So we can put that subcommittee on hold until there's a need to meet again.
Okay.
So is there any questions regarding the policy?
I had a couple.
Sure.
Just based on comments that I made last time.
Can you just say page number if you're talking about that?
So page number 11, the
Okay.
first paragraph, last line where it says spouse or anyone living in the employee's household. So could that be like a roommate?
I'm just looking for where.
It's the last line that's highlighted.
Oh.
So that line was previously that it would be anyone else that Aaron could approve. However, the lawyer did not like that wording because she said it opened up for potential like favoritism.
Right, my issue is
So she was the one that recommended the household.
anyone living in the employee's household. So it doesn't have to be a family member. It could just be a roommate technically.
How about the grandparents?
Well, it says for immediate family. Doesn't it speak to that?
It says at the top, for purposes of this section, immediate family shall be those.
Then it says, or anyone
And living in the household.
employee's
That was
household.
that wording was recommended by the lawyer. And that was she, like Donna said, specifically toward speaking to favoritism. That I personally, if I were to look at this and someone wanted to take sick leave, I'm not going to question if that person's a relative of theirs. That's none of my business.
Right.
And it could be a relative of theirs. In a lot of people who have friends who are adopted family members. So I would not feel comfortable.
You don't want to have to
like
police it.
inquiring and, saying, well, is this a roommate? How long have you known them? What's your relationship like? Do you share a room? Do you share a toothbrush? That's not my business. I would just, I don't think in my time there hasn't been anybody that's taken advantage of this situation, and I don't think in the previous time there has been. But I feel comfortable with the living in the employee's household, and I believe the subcommittee, when we discussed it, felt the same way. But
I wouldn't
certainly if
think
anybody
that
wants to speak to that.
It would cover like a roommate, so that who has no, you know what I mean?
Well, that roommate, you could
Someone
be
who's renting
with
a room.
someone for a number of years and be technically legally married, but not married.
Yeah.
And who am I to question that?
No, what I'm
You
saying,
know.
if you're renting a room to someone,
Oh, well, if it's a rental situation, then no, that wouldn't apply. But
It wouldn't apply because they're not in the same household, so it's not there. If I could just share a personal experience. Previously, I was the person taking care of my grandparents when they were both ill. My grandfather had dementia. My grandmother then quickly followed with cancer. So it was very hard for me to use time off because the policy did not allow for me, even though I lived with them and I was their primary caregiver, I was not able to use sick time to take care of any of their doctor's appointment or meet with any of their nurses, even when they were in hospice, because the policy didn't accommodate that. I had plenty of time with vacation and it worked out okay, but because I've been here, for so long, but in that case, it was hard and challenging sometimes having to rearrange my schedule to work. So this, I really, really appreciate the wording put in here as such, because it does open that up to somebody in a similar situation that you may be a primary caregiver, but it is not as defined specifically by immediate family in this case. So I do appreciate this as someone who would have fallen under this clause. It would have been really nice to have this for a period of time.
Because you wouldn't have to use your sick leave.
Well, I wasn't able to.
You wouldn't have to use your vacation leave or something.
Right, and so the sick leave, I feel like in this case is, it would be better handled. It gives those cases, you won't have that as an employee having taking care in that situation. It just gives you that availability where they are in the household.
My second question was on page 13 for health insurance. I commented last time, you might want to consider for eligible full-time employees hired before November 1st would get the health insurance.
Where are you?
The section 20 insurance, health insurance.
First line.
so the first line
First
there
line, yep.
for employees hired before.
It says eligible employee on the third line, and part-time employees would not be eligible.
But it doesn't say that part-time employees aren't eligible. It just says eligible, but it doesn't say what eligible is.
You can add it. It doesn't really need to change anything.
That's up to the board.
I don't think it hurts to add the word eligible there.
Well, eligible is already in there.
Full-time employees?
You're looking for it to say, what would you like it to say, I guess?
Eligible.
Yeah, for eligible full-time employees hired before November 1st.
I see, okay. Is the board okay with that, if we make that change?
I think,
It makes it clearer.
yeah,
That's fine.
sure.
Eligible full-time, okay.
It says eligible on the
Further down.
third line, so what about it for full-time employees hired?
Yeah, you can do that too. That
And
would
then
work.
I'm saying it twice. You all right with that one?
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, so just full-time.
Yeah.
That would be okay.
And last, page 16, tuition reimbursement.
There it is, okay, yep.
We're still offering tuition reimbursement to part-time employees.
Mhm. The subcommittee had nothing to say about
Okay.
that.
I still think that should be for full-time people.
I think we heavily discussed this, didn't we, the last time, about how we want part-time people
Right.
taking those kinds of courses so they can advance themselves and
Right.
work towards being.
I think, what did you call it? What was the word, was it you, Nancy, that said to like, opportunities or something to speak to that, I thought. Maybe I'm just misremembering.
I would think that we would be minimizing opportunities. That's what I said. You know, if someone was working for us as a part-time employee, and then there was an opportunity for that individual to advance, but it required some training, I would think that we would be minimizing an opportunity for advancement in our own library if we didn't, have those opportunities available for them.
And honestly, most of our full-time staff already have degrees. Like the
Right.
reason why they are full-time is because they have a degree. So we're giving a part-time employee the opportunity, to advance.
And for the professional certifications, is that for full-time and part-time as well?
Yes.
Yep.
And that covers the notary, right?
The notary is paid out of the budget. It's a service, just like, I guess, I don't know how to define, like a database that we pay for.
Postage for ILS.
Yeah.
That was it for me, thank you.
Okay.
I'll say, I'll make a motion to accept or approve.
I have one question.
Oh, sure.
Just to clarify this, because I know we discussed it sort of, kind of. It says here that you can only accrue 125 days of sick leave.
Can I just ask where you are, what page?
10,
Okay.
bottom of the page.
Okay.
And it also says that you can carry over 2 weeks, or 2 times the yearly total to which you're entitled of your vacation.
Yes.
And that can be carried forward, if you can accumulate 125 days of sick leave, that can be carried forward infinitely, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, and do we also have something regarding comp time, because these things can be cashed out, correct?
Yes.
I believe it's in there.
Comp time is,
I remember seeing, where was that?
On the next day, 11, it went into the
I've looked at it.
Yeah, because it can't be rolled over, I know that.
Yep.
Yeah, where is that?
I know I saw it, I know.
It's here somewhere, huh?
Where, do you know where comp time is?
I didn't see it, that's what I was asking, I just wanted to know if it rolls over or
Medical
not.
comp, is that maybe it?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
It's called administrative.
Yeah, it's called
time.
administrative time. But I
It
know.
It does, I mean, I know the gist of it. It does not roll over. A staff member who has it can cash out up to 60 hours a year. And that matches the town's policy for non-rep employees.
Oh, it's under section 8.
I was just going to say, I think I just found it too. Right there, under section 8, the third paragraph.
What page?
I'm sorry, page 6, where it says no employee shall have an excess of 80 hours of cumulative administrative time at any time.
That's per year, correct?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, employees may, at the each year beginning. Yep, 60 hours per fiscal year.
80 hours. Oh, 60 hours, got it.
So
Maximum.
So do you get the
can earn
opportunity to carry it
80,
over?
but you
No, don't
can't.
get the opportunity to carry it over.
You can only cash out.
You can
60.
cash out.
Yeah. All right.
That's kind of slick that you can earn it, but you can't.
Well, you can use it in other, like you can use it in lieu of earn time.
Or to take your grandma to the doctor.
Motion to approve or accept this updated personnel policy with the small adjustments that we made tonight. Second in full.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Did you get a second?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
She made the motion, I seconded it.
Okay. Just wanted to check.
They're moving fast over there.
I'm freezing.
If you don't mind.
I know. We gotta hurry up and finish. We're
Feels
going.
good to me, I think it's perfect.
I need to start bringing a blanket.
I know. Half of us are hot, half of us are cold.
Let's move on. to business.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, new business, we have an acceptance of unanticipated funds. The first one is from Hannaford. I believe that was for the bag program? Was it bag or, no, that was the just a donation, I believe a donation jar that they have there. We got $63. I am happy to also say that Hannaford has chosen us for October for the bag, reusable bags. So we'll be getting some more money from them, which is another resource that we've reached out to.
That's good, that's
Yeah,
good.
so,
Keep track.
which I kind of like forget about these things because it just happens automatically, which is
Right,
nice.
but that's, we need to.
We also received a donation in honor of a patron's 50th wedding anniversary.
Nice.
Like, so adorable.
Nice.
$75 for that.
Oh.
So,
Yeah, I know.
So we can do these together, can't we, Kim?
Yeah.
So, Matt, are you ready for a motion?
Is that all?
I'm sorry.
that's all of them, yes.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we accept the unanticipated funds of $63 and $75 under RSA 202-A:4-C and RSA 202-A:4-D.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Someplace in your newsletter, sometime, it would be nice to say that, a couple made a donation based on their anniversary,
Yeah,
or,
thank you.
it might not be a bad thing
interest.
to mention,
Give a
yes.
little love, yeah.
Yeah.
And if they want it to be, known, you could take a picture and have them
Oh, well, someone gave it in their
in their honor.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I don't.
But it's just like, sometimes somebody will say, oh, could you just give peanut butter to the Sunshine Soup Kitchen? And so you could say, well, 42 things of peanut butter were donated,
Yep.
So it just, again, it's kind of, it would be nice to encourage other people.
Yep, absolutely. We welcome all donations.
ALA.
So ALA, I know this was discussed at one of the meetings at the time when our membership renewal is up. So our membership, I just got in the mail an email, our membership renewal for $162. At the time, during last year, I forget what time, the board asked to review or discuss it before I renew again. I would also like to share, so we can discuss that.
It's
but
time and it's 162.
it's 162. We did get an email from the American Library Association that we received a $200 donation from James Patterson we think it's for his new book coming out. A $200 in recognition of the amazing work that libraries provide to our communities. So we were nominated and we were selected to receive that bonus. So
We can't get more than $200. Get a lot of money.
he was giving it to a lot of libraries. So,
And
we're the only library.
She buys all that furniture.
So,
$38 to good.
for itself.
So it paid for itself, so I didn't know how the board felt about renewing the membership this time.
Well, since all of that's been paid for.
But the reason last time was because of the president. It had nothing to do with the money, to my knowledge. So I didn't know if the board felt
I
differently.
think it has value, and I think we should, it's certainly not a large
I
amount.
do too.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question. What's the situation with the ALA and the state? Because somebody said that, or I heard somewhere, and I think somebody might have brought it up here last time, that the state had suspended ALA. What is going on with that?
To my knowledge, the state has not been suspended in ALA. We still, library still, the state still has a membership with ALA.
There was a vote or something at some point, back when we were having those discussions. There was a vote to have the state of New Hampshire, vote by the legislature,
Yes.
to have the state
Christine came,
become one of the
Correct.
states that was not going to participate.
Yeah.
But the libraries, by statute, are independent of the town and the legislature from that standpoint. So it's like, I'm not sure. So
Yeah,
I don't
think
know.
that
Do you
went
recall the
anywhere.
reason why? Like, why would they do that?
It was
Because of the president.
It was because
At
of
that
the
time.
president having been
Of
a
the
Marxist.
A proud Marxist, yes.
Declared
ALA
herself a
president.
But I mean,
Marxist
her term's already over, so.
But she's gone now.
Yeah, she's gone. You know, and I don't think it went
She made
anywhere
some
in the
waves.
state.
There is
So,
a new president now. So,
Okay, thank you.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Sure, since I'm on a roll tonight. Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we renew our membership of the ALA for $162.
second, oh, go ahead. Jan seconds it. Jan seconds it.
All in favor?
I'm just moving the meeting along.
Opposed?
Aye.
6-1.
can I ask why you're opposed?
Just, I still think they're more one-sided than.
The organization
the
itself?
organization
Okay.
itself, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're getting it free, but if you want to know why, that's
Okay.
why.
Okay.
I wanted to abstain because I'm not sure about that issue, so.
So
So it's 5-1-1.
It's 511.
Okay.
91A, so at this time, and certainly Tristan, you could speak to this, there are 91As being posted on the town, well, I believe it's every time the town gets a 91A, or do you want me to continue?
So we
I don't
are
wanna misspeak.
posting them as fast as is practicable. This was a decision made by council to put all 91A and all responsive documents on the website for town requests. Because the library is its own form of government, you have the option of doing so, and we will happily put them alongside on the 91A page. You don't have to though. It is totally up to you.
Does it cost money? Does
Will it cost us money?
I'm just asking.
Here's so much time.
Does it cost money?
I mean,
Will it cost us? are you
I mean,
gonna
it costs
send
us
a bill
time.
for it?
I'm not going to send you a bill for it, no, but you'll just see my car here later.
Could you
There's not enough hours in the day for me to do the ones that I have to
Could
put
you
up
sign
there.
this piece of paper so you're not in charge of it?
Yeah, no, Erin will get my part of my salary attributed to the trustees.
I'll
next
bring
year.
you
No kidding.
chocolate, how's that?
Is the person who requested the 91A, their name posted?
Yes.
So, yeah,
Name and
so,
all their identifying information is post, anything that they put in. Our custom is to redact personal phone numbers and personal emails of requesters of anybody in there. And I
Yeah.
will say we do we over err on redacting for the web. Before I put up anything, I will go through it again before I post it on the website. The other thing is, the reason it takes longer is I turn everything to an image so it's not searchable. So if somebody say Christine Fitzgerald is a fairly common name, but Nancy Hendricks requests something, or somebody requests something where Nancy's name appears 700 times in the document. If that's in there, if I put it up as a PDF, the web will crawl, and then the first thing anybody sees is Nancy Hendricks. When she searches her name, will see is that. So I turn everything to an image so it's not search crawlable on the web.
Nice.
It doesn't cost you anything, but the actual request that people submit is put up. The actual, every response that we send back is put up, and all the documents are put up.
So I did print out kind of like on the town website.
It's not up to date right now.
No, it's
a lot
not.
of work.
But just to give you an idea, it does show a date, the requester who requested, the request that they asked for, and this is clickable, like response is clickable, and then any documents that were attached to it. So the board would just have to decide at this meeting if they want to do, starting as of now, at this September meeting, going forward, would you like the 91A request for the library to be put up on the town website?
I think it makes sense.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, that way it might actually cut down on other 91As if someone looks at it and says, hey, someone already asked this.
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah, nothing to hide.
doesn't bother me at all. I mean,
It's entirely up to you. I will say I have not seen that as a result to this point. It has not affected the number of 91A requests that we receive, but it's, again,
Maybe once the info gets out that is posted, it might be less.
Yeah, who knows? We could hope.
I would agree with that.
Do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we post the 91As.
Second.
But, I'm sorry, can you clarify a date, like today going forward, or do you want to do past?
I guess today, moving forward.
Today, okay.
Do you have a second?
counts as a retroactively, so I hate you.
oh, really?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, I'm going to keep going, Kim.
Yeah.
Posting the meeting documents. Maura, I'm going to speak, you had sent an email about that. I didn't know if you wanted to speak to that to clarify, because I did respond, but I didn't know if you wanted to clarify with the board any kind of, everybody saw my response, so I didn't know if there wanted to be more discussion on
I'm
it.
sorry, what are we on now?
The posting meeting documents
In new business.
in new business.
Just makes it easier so that, because I actually go back and read all that stuff. Like I read the budget subcommittee meeting minutes before coming to this meeting.
Well, those are the minutes, they're posted, but you're talking,
But I
to
wanted to
clarify.
see the matching documents too, because I wanted to know what was being discussed in the minutes. So that, it just makes it easier for me. And in general, in meetings when I've had them, like we post all that stuff with our agenda.
Okay.
Are you talking about upcoming meetings?
So in this case,
Because I think, Kirsten, you might know the answer to this. Doesn't that speak to the quorum issue and having a meeting online?
well, you're
because if we
posting
said
No,
digital
no, because
documents.
I'm not saying, I just was looking for documents from the subcommittee meeting that were discussed at the subcommittee meeting to understand the referenced material.
Are you talking about appending them to the minutes? Is that what you're saying, like putting them on the end of the minutes from
At
a
the state
meeting?
advisory, when we do our agenda, if we're having documents that we're referencing in the agenda, we post them with the agenda.
So there's, from a 91A standpoint, so you're talking about like we do for the town council packet, where we put the documents attached to the town
Yeah.
council packet? There's, if a document is final and ready for public consumption, there's no problem appending it to the agenda. Draft documents that are still workshop documents that are not finalized are generally do not fall under 91A, so they generally do not go out to the public. Does that make sense? So for example, one of these reports, appending to the minutes, no problem because it's already a finished document. The personnel policy that you're working on while you're working on it would not have to be appended to the minutes, and it's up to you whether you would want to, because it's a draft document, and as long as something is in draft document, it's generally not provided under 91A.
Well, in this case too, because I wanted to be prepared for the meeting, I wanted to read the subcommittee meeting component, so I was, ready to discuss it.
The struggling thing with that is that some of these documents that we are, like, we're still putting together, like today. We were still putting things together. So there are some things that are not available when the agenda goes out to post. So it's a struggle because it would be an incomplete kind of representation, I guess you could say, of what we'll be presenting.
And I guess my added point, if you instead want them attached to the minutes, I personally am going to strongly beg for you to select a secretary, because this is a huge amount of my time, and really you should have a secretary, or you can consider hiring another person, because we used to have an executive, what was they called? Executive assistant, whose job that was. we no longer have it, and it was
that's
kind
how
of
it became your
merged
job.
to the assistant director, who honestly, the assistant director has absorbed a lot.
There have been, yeah.
So if you're going to add more to the minutes, even if you're not going to add more to the minutes, I'd really ask you to consider electing a secretary that actually will commit to doing the job.
Well, if the meetings are recorded and posted, you wouldn't have to do as detailed meeting minutes. You wouldn't have to do verbatim meeting minutes because,
I would argue that because you can't tell who's speaking.
well, that's another
So-
reason why it should be video recorded.
I think people will still ask who said what, who voted for what. I mean, right now we're not actually spelling out who voted for what like town council does, which is something we could do, but that's another discussion.
But even without, like, even with the doing less detail, this is not Donna's job. This is a trustee position that should be elected, and it should be just like the treasurer, just like the vice chair. This is a trustee position. And this, I have to say, I mean, Donna is amazing. She does amazing minutes. She does amazing at her job, but it is taking away from her real responsibilities as an assistant director. And it's not fair to Donna to put this on her, or she's inherited it in a sense, and that's not fair. And I would advocate as well for the trustees to think about really getting a secretary and following the laws that are associated with that, that are required with that, because, you know, when you talk about, you know, us, when we say we don't have enough time to do things, this is part of that. And when you have 45 pages of notes or 42 pages of notes that you have to retype or type up to have available, that's a lot of time. And it's not fair for an employee to be, you really want to be paying Donna to retype meeting minutes? That's not fair. So I would advocate as well to please think about a secretary and think about that process.
Or we could just video record it and then that'll take care of both issues. That way you'll see
So
who's
if you
speaking
video,
and
is it true if you
not.
video record, you do not have to have minutes
That is not-
typed?
No,
No,
so
you'll still have them, but not as like verbatim detailed.
But it doesn't remove the fact that it shouldn't
They
be
still
done.
have to be done.
It should not be done.
Can you use an AI app to just transport?
I would not be comfortable with that.
Me either.
It still won't tell you who was speaking,
Right.
who said what, because it won't recognize people's voices.
Well, and we, along that line, we need to clean up our act and do that. When we make votes and when we make a motion and those kinds of things too. That's,
I have to say, this is one of the first library boards I've ever seen with the assistant director doing the minutes, to tell you the truth.
Me too.
I've been around a long time.
In my 8 years of being a director at Amesbury, the trustees always, in fact, the trustees posted the agenda. They did the minutes, they typed the minutes, and they posted them to the website. They did all of that.
and that's how it is for most of the other.
And that should be that is the appropriate responsible for the
We
board.
really should talk about this further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we table it?
Yeah, I do. We're not going to settle this tonight, I don't.
Yeah.
Do you want to put it on the next month's
Yeah,
agenda?
that'd be great.
Sure. So in this, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, the town does also contract out a professional minute person. She just does minutes, that's what she does. We contract out to the land use board. So if it's
Do they
within
share?
your payroll, the trustees would have to pay her, but I don't know her capacity, but I can also put her in contact as an option if
Would you mind sending her info to Kim?
I would love to send us.
Okay,
She's
thank
delightful, she's wonderful to deal with.
Okay. So is it okay if we also table the posting of additional documents since we haven't
Yes.
decided how? Okay, I just want to be sure. So the next meeting we'll just go as we've been going. Okay. Can I move on? Picnic table. Lighter note here.
Remember what we talked about earlier?
So, yes. So there's an area by the staff parking lot that is grassy, and I've been trying to get a pavilion, just so we're clear, but that's not happening, and that's okay. We will explore that when my rich uncle passes away, and he hands me all of his money. But in the meantime, I would like to get some outdoor seating for my staff. The town hall has picnic tables behind their building. I have reached out to the Ford dealership in town, asking them to a donation. They have not responded after I've called them twice. I reached out to Continental Paving. They declined and decided not to donate. The Friends, like I said, do not have enough money to do this. So knowing the trustees account, and this is kind of like what the trustees account is for, in my opinion, and in my history, I would ask that the trustees fund a purchase of a wheelchair accessible picnic table that is made out of material that's not going to rot. It's not real wood, it's like plasticky wood or whatever. That's long lasting. It also will have curved legs, just so we're clear, so that it's easier for, which is a request from Dave from DPW, so it's easier for the lawn mowing people to move the table when they mow the lawn. This is, I did get a quote from Barco Products, which is a very well-known kind of industrial product magazine, for $1,606.20.
For a picnic table?
I do have to say it's the handicapped accessibility and the material that's costing those costs. So
What was it again?
$1,606.20. So DPW has offered to put it together for us if we can. So that's a big deal, which I'm very thankful for. But I would like to have this space. This would not only be for staff, but also for patrons. And if it is successful, we can explore other options in that area and see what we can
Might be able to
do.
use it with children or
How much do we have in the trustees account?
Jan, it was-
36,000.
Yep.
All right, I guess we can
What, Megan, did you want to?
I did want to just clarify, before the demolition of the school department building, there was a picnic table out front.
Yeah, there was.
Next to the school department that a lot of the staff used. But in recent times,
When the clam shack went.
the
God.
advent of DoorDash there is
Yeah, that's a problem.
very, very many students coming over from school eating McDonald's, Wendy's, Dunkin's. Really fun to see the Dunkin's DoorDash. I think it's hysterical. But they have nowhere to go to eat it because they can't eat it inside, so they're sitting on the front steps or in the grass. So this would give them a place to eat after school. They're already getting their DoorDashes.
Do we need a bigger trash can?
We
I'm
do.
just thinking.
Well, I can ask Dave about a trash can in the back of the building, because my vision for this is to, if it is successful, just a warning, if it is successful and popular, I would like to potentially get another one and also look at that space and see how we can create an outdoor space for people to enjoy, to do story times, to kind of expand our library even more. And so this is kind of like a baby step towards seeing how that space can be used, and maybe looking to the future for creating a more outdoor friendly space. Yes.
I make a motion that we spend the required amount to get the one picnic table.
$1,606.20.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
why is it so expensive?
It's because of the handicapped,
it's
additional
not
handicapped
wood.
space, and it's a durable kind of material that
It's
will
a
last.
composite.
Yeah, so it'll last
And it
long.
has the legs that...
The metal
so they
legs
can
that
get
curve.
underneath it.
We can get, like, I saw them at BJ's for $150, but
Yeah.
it's not going to have the same features that we. And I, Donna did. I actually was going to go for a regular one. And Donna did point out the handicap one, which I think is important.
I agree.
But if you get the 150 one, you can get 4 of them, plus a canopy.
And it could be that.
You get a pop-up.
Well, I would like to also. I'm gonna ask DPW to drill a hole, because I don't think there's a hole, but I'm gonna drill a hole in it to be an umbrella. That's another thing. But if we could get the second one could not be handicap accessible. We could get a normal one, and it would be less cost because we already have a handicap
Okay, then
accessible.
we'll go to the second.
So
Okay.
we can explore that.
Maybe we should get the expensive one and a inexpensive one.
That is, I'm certainly fine with that.
To maximize the amount of seating space, since we're having a...
Do you want to put a price saying you'll spend this plus an additional up to?
Yeah, no more than $2,000 total, including
For
delivery
both.
charges, including for both.
I'll see you.
Bobby, heart palpitation.
And if you can get a pop-up.
She's a treasurer.
Yes.
Right.
the treasurer, she knows.
So, okay, thank you. So that's up to,
Donna,
do we
that's
have a
gonna be
motion
your
or do
job.
we?
That's a motion.
Up the pop up and take
Yeah.
it down.
Because it's funny.
Okay, so Jan would put the motion,
Jan?
sorry, want to amend your motion?
Up to.
Okay, so I'd like to amend my motion to state that we are going to provide at least one
And a half.
Cadillac
One ADA.
ADA compliant picnic table and one other picnic table, priced not to exceed $2,000 total, including shipping and delivery. Understanding that the town will be assembling it, because they already said they would, without sending us a bill.
Okay, I'll second it.
All in favor?
I
Opposed?
reluctantly, right?
You're opposed?
No, I hope we're reluctantly saying it's a lot of money for a damn picnic.
That's what well, I agree, but.
I'm handicapped and I can get into a regular
That's all right.
Yes, but if
A whole bunch
you
of people
were in a
in wheelchairs
wheelchair,
showing
you
up.
wouldn't be able to pull your wheelchair up to the
The
table.
other,
Refrigerator?
So-
You may have asked us this before we gave you two.
No, well, so the staff refrigerator, is failing. There was apparently prior to COVID, am I correct?
Yes.
There was a discussion to get a new refrigerator, and then it kind of fell off the table. We are having issues. I don't think the freezer is freezing as well as it should. So
Winter's coming, it'll be cold outside.
So I wanted to get a whole refrigerator outside too with a little cafe. You know, but no, I'm just kidding.
Little grill kitchen.
Can we do two picnic tables and a refrigerator for
I just
2,000?
No, not for 2,000. So I plan to go to Home Depot to check our options. I have to measure the space, and I will come back in October with some prices. But it is something that does need to be addressed. We do, obviously, staff uses it for lunches, but we also store program food in there as well.
You can
And
get a college-sized one.
So is this part of the trustees account as well?
that could be up to the trustees if they would like to do that. It might depend on how much it is. We can certainly explore that in October.
We should take it out of the furniture account.
Well, we don't have
That's right.
That's an appliance.
So I just wanted to warn you about that, and then I did, I included, which I would like to work on, and certainly bring back to the board. I talked to Kim about this, the job description for the library director, because my review came up and I was like, oh, so looking at this, you'll see two of them in here. This one, the typewriter one, is from 1992. That was the only one that I could find. I, again, do not have access to files, but then the other one is this one is what was posted when I applied. So I would like to work on creating a more official type library director job description so that we do have that to reference. And I will, share it with the board. The board doesn't have to approve it, but I can share it with the board.
Put it on the
certainly.
library, whatever, cloud or something, so. The thumb drive that you can have access to, so it's something that's available.
Yeah, well, I mean, anybody can.
Well, I'm just saying.
And we share.
Since we don't have access to previous.
Oh, yeah, no, this will be accessible, but we do share there are a lot of times where libraries are hiring and they're like, oh, does anybody have a current job description for this position?
Right.
So I just wanted to let you all know that this kind of fell off my plate. I don't think I really paid attention when I was hired about the job description because I was hired, so I was like, cool. But I will update it and share with the board a more appropriate job description. So, and then that's all I didn't know if anybody had any other.
I can just say it made some people a little bit nervous seeing this.
I thought you were
Having that, agreed.
I thought you were leaving.
Wait,
No, no.
Why do we have?
I hope I'm not leaving. My review is coming up, so that's up to you guys.
Contact Donna Plant.
So I just wanted to bring to y'all's attention that I received an email from a patron. I actually called the patron and I spoke with her for a while. She was upset because in the past, the children's room had red cards. So you could only check out books from the children's room with the red card. You couldn't check them out from the floor. And apparently something happened where some other books were checked out from the main floor and she was really upset about it. I told her that the library policy was that if you have a library card, you can check out a book. In discussing it with her, because she was upset, I asked her, well, what would you like to see happen? And she said, I'd like for the policy to be posted or made public so that I can make an informed choice, which I think is reasonable. So she wanted the policy posted so that she would know that if you had a library card, you could check out any book in the library.
She sent you an email as well?
Yeah.
Could we see the email?
I can print it, yeah. It's not a problem, but I also called her because I was like,
Yeah.
well, what do you want me to do with this? Because,
Yeah.
you know.
Maybe you could share the email with us at the next meeting.
And I just, along that same line, I just want to say that the graphic novels that my grandson reads, he's going into 4th grade, he's 9, are all in the adult section.
Yeah.
And Garfield, adult section. So, you know, if a kid likes Garfield, they're going to have to go into the adult section to check it out. So, you know, but the kids know that, right? My grandson knows that's where he has to go to get that. So I'm just saying that that would restrict kids from being able to access that kind of stuff if there was something that said, oh, you can't, you know.
She's not saying restricted, she's saying posted.
Parents should be able
Post
to.
it so they understand, they know their liability.
Yes.
Parents understand their
policy.
liability.
Yeah.
You know, they think that that the library's policing it, and they're not.
No.
You know, and so we need to be clear
Not
with
just
our
not
Aware of the
patients.
different
not just
Um,
tacos.
Yeah.
Yes, so there were different cards many years ago when we went digital that were all blue for adults and all red for kids. Then we did the updated card with the town emblem, town seal, on it when it was much harder to see, but there are differences, blue and red. The red really just spoke to the being children's cards, and that was anyone under 18. At the time, the policy was that they couldn't check out DVDs. Anything else was open to either patron. We since updated the policy so anybody can check out anything. And that's been in place for several years, right? And our new library cards are all exactly the same by look, so kids can just keep the same card that they were issued when they were kids and not have to change the card number because nothing really is changing at this point.
I think we are working on getting our policies, all of our policies that have been approved, at least currently, on the website. It's just, again, one of those things that Donna has to do that is challenging when you're writing 42 pages a minute. So.
Yeah, I already have a draft, so yes, I can make that happen.
Okay.
I had one thing for
Oh,
displays. Is there going to be anything put up for Veterans Day in the library?
I don't have the display schedule in front of me. Do you?
I can't speak to the display themes, however, I do know there will be a display for the book discussion because we're going to do a.
World War II? Is it?
It's the things they carried.
The things that
Which is like a veteran story.
Yeah.
So that will be definitely up. I don't know what the themes are for.
Yeah, I don't have the schedule in
We
front of me.
add some generic Veterans Day posters or information as well?
We can do our best. We plan the displays a year in advance, or at least for the main tables. So there could already be a display planned. We'd have to check with the reference department, but we can try to put something smaller up someplace else.
Okay.
You know, I need, this is very personal to me. Veterans Day is very, very important. I mean, if you can, I hate to say if you can do this, you should do that. If you can celebrate LBGT month for a month and have beautiful posters and stuff, why can't you do the same for
I'm not
Veterans Day?
saying we won't. I'm just saying I have to look at the schedule and see where we have things placed, because like I said, my staff plans things in advance, so we'll have to find an area to do that. But I don't know of anything at this moment that is already in place. So, but it's certainly something that we can do.
Okay,
So if
and
there isn't, could you ask?
Yeah, I will talk to them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And if you need to reach out to people for, I don't know, things that we could put in displays or something temporary, type of thing. I'm sure some of us have lots of different kind of veteran stuff.
And along those lines, since the book that you're going to be reading is about things that people carry, maybe people might want to share in the little thing things that they carry to war. You know,
If somebody wanted to reserve the display case from the community that had items to display for that month, we would absolutely welcome an application.
I think that much.
I just wanted to note too, though, that we can't possibly do every holiday every single year for displays. Like even like Pride Month, we're not doing that every year. So we're trying to balance as much as we can because there's so many different things you can cover in a month, and we don't want to be doing the same thing every year. That's the only thing I want to.
No, I think like
Wow.
Memorial Day and Veterans Day are two huge, important things, you know, living in the US. I think those should be two definite ones.
I think anybody else could argue something different. So we have to think of everybody, is my point. That's our job. So it's not, calendar-wise, there's only so much time to offer our 3 display spaces. We try to diversify by doing some physical displays. Sometimes we post a like collection promotion online that we're not actually featuring physically in the library. Like we try to switch it up like that too. But
I mean, we've also done
We can
things in
only
the
do so
past
much.
where we're like, we do cards for, like, was it Cards for Soldiers that we did?
Yeah.
Where we had a craft going on related to that we had kids, or adults could do it too, decorate cards that we would mail out, send out to soldiers. So just because we don't have a display doesn't mean there's not something happening related to that holiday. And again, it's challenging for us because there's so many holidays now, and I agree that those are 2 very important holidays. I'm a daughter of a veteran. I support veterans 100%. But you know, at the same time, you know, we're managing quite a bit, and so the lack of it does not speak to our respect for it. It speaks to, again, planning ahead. We've planned displays a year in advance to help make things easier to kind of get things done and make everybody's time work better. So that's kind of like sometimes, well, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to time and space. So I will do my best to try to find an area that we can put up a small display, but we have other things going on, as Donna's.
Well, I just want to be clear, are you suggesting that we have a Veterans Day display for the entire month?
No,
Okay.
it doesn't need to be up
Yeah.
for the whole month. I
Right,
mean,
so-
even if it's a week or 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
Just
Figure
switch to
something
at some
Thanksgiving.
point.
yeah,
Yeah.
have the turkeys have a
Then we have turkeys after
We just,
that.
and this has nothing to do with the veterans specifically. It's or the Veterans Day specifically. It's just more of like, you know, we really think about these displays and how we can accommodate so many different genres, so many different holidays, so many different, you know, materials, whatever that looks like. And so it's not just like, oh well, you know, it's National Donut Day. Well, you know, that's what we're going to focus on. It's really comes down to collection, what we have, what we want to advertise part of the collection that we've never advertised before. So there's a lot of thought that does go into it.
Don't we get the free posters from the Smithsonian? And I mean, aren't those all free? So that should be.
I don't know if we can get them now. I think it's too late for Veterans
Because I
Day.
think we
There's-
talked about this last year to
We
make
did.
sure it got done for this year.
Right, well, we did the
They did it last year.
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth posters. They don't have one for Veterans Day specifically, as far as I can. There's different parts of different historical things. But as far as Veterans Day specific, I don't believe they have one that just does that. But I can.
But even with that, we're talking, like, we reserved the meeting room for a specific time
Yeah.
frame to make that happen. Megan put a ton of staff time into making the posters happen.
Stand upright?
Yes.
Because we didn't get them professionally printed. She did it all, which saved us money on the printing side. So there's even, like, stuff that we need to plan ahead on. So if we want to look at an exhibit for next fall, that at this point it's too late for November. And I know when you did bring it up and ask, that Megan and I did look at the Smithsonian site to see if anything would fit, and there really wasn't anything that was a good fit, at least from what we saw.
Right, and they don't update that often. It's been pretty consistent. I think the one we did for Juneteenth was the newer one. But I mean, it did take a lot of research to find that one.
Is that the only site we use? I mean, is there anything like a Veterans Association that might
I was
have?
gonna say, we've got a Veterans
information.
Association across the parking lot.
So last year, I believe I did reach out to the Veterans Association, actually quite a few, and received a number of pamphlets that I put out on the table from them. And it was more focused on services for veterans. That's kind of where I kind of steered that display. But I mean, I'm happy to do a display. I just can't promise you it's going to have all the bells and whistles. But we will try to do something.
Okay.
So the Smithsonian specifically, it's pretty much the only museum who does that kind of poster exhibit display. So I did look around to try to find other places, and I didn't find anything that was like print ready or had the shareability in the same fashion that is actually made to do this. I know talking to somebody now about a future potential display that they would want to do, that they brought to us, that would be in a similar vein on the great peacemakers of history. But again, it depends on space and time. So,
Well, that's going to cost money because he's a presenter.
yep.
So
there's different things that we do research those things, but there's nothing that is of the same caliber available already.
And if we either came up with a display to help with that, who would we talk to? You?
For like a display case, or just putting
On a table, I don't know, if there was some...
I can do one. I just don't know what's available right now because I have to look at the schedule. That's all. I think the big table is being used for a display already because like I said, we planned that out for a year in advance. But maybe I could take up one of the smaller tables. I'll have to talk to. I believe Becca does a lot of the displays, so I'll talk to her if that's acceptable by the board.
It is.
It is.
And I think I'd kind of like to know what the plan is at our next meeting. Because I agree at the Veterans, and I know you're not being dismissive of Veterans Day, but Veterans Day is kind of a big thing.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah.
You can,
I just don't know offhand what that looks like. That's all.
And we're not asking for specifics tonight, but maybe at our next meeting,
Yeah,
you'll bring us kind of what your vision is.
Okay.
Well, it's up to you.
Yes,
Take a look, there you go.
Andy Mack Senior's a veteran. Could ask him
Asking for what?
if he has stuff that you could put on a table.
Well, I don't want to put anything on the table because I would be afraid that it would be taken.
Oh,
exactly.
And these are people's personal effects.
The display case.
I'll check this, I can check the schedule for the display case, see if it's available, and certainly that's something, I would want anybody's personal belongings to be locked up. I would not feel comfortable putting it on the table.
Right.
But I can definitely, I don't know the display case if it's booked on for November, but I can certainly look into it. I will have something for the next meeting for sure.
Okay, great. All right, public comment. Any public comment?
I stuck around.
You did, that's awesome.
Again, thank you very much for the services that you provide as elected people in this position. As the budget talk starts to kind of percolate, I really want to kind of put it out there that it's the job of the trustee to start thinking about it as a business model. So how are you going to sell this to the budget committee? We have to have some really clear points. So like it's cute to talk about the tortoise, but it undermines the very serious work that happens here. So like we have to like think about what is our script. What are we going to stand by as trustees? What's the line? Because like if you go into court, you think, oh, the defense is going to say this and the prosecution can say this. We have to think about like what are they going to say? How do we counter it? Not how do we build up our plan B as the cell, because that's what I'm hearing, and that's troublesome. I don't want to hear from my elected trustees, how are we going to sell Plan B? I want to hear, how do we defend this really well thought out budget created by our amazing librarians. They are providing us a service. As a trustee, we must defend the services they provide. If you're not at this table to defend the budget that it dictates the needs that are serviced here, what are we doing? So very, very strongly, as a voter, as a future candidate for a trustee position, I just hold that responsibility so fervently important. Like, it's not okay to not have a plan going into these meetings. It's not okay to be not ready to go, not ready to defend the budget as it's provided us, or you. So I'm really hoping that there won't be any wishy-washy anything. These folks work so hard, and they're here so late at night, and they're going to be here again tomorrow morning, and they're already taking on far too much. We need to see elected people stepping it up. The budget committee has their job. Their job is to push back. And then as a trustee, you must be armed with all the information and go ready to defend the budget that's brought forward. So please don't ask them to dump a plan to save $2,500 for chairs. Because when you divide $2,500 by the number of households in this community that are going to pay taxes, that's pennies. They should not have to defend, each neighborhood having to put in a few pennies for chairs they're breaking. So let's really think about what is the role that you ask voters to believe in you, to carry out, and really buckle down and do that, because the budget committee, their job is to push back, and your job is to defend this budget. So please think about how that's going to happen, because it's really important. And some of the folks in the budget committee do not value this building and the services that occur here. They might not be familiar with what actually happens here. Maybe they don't go to the library. Maybe they haven't been to the library in decades. But it's our job as a community that supports the librarians to really go to those meetings ready and informed. So I'm just really asking people to start thinking about what they're going to do, because that's the responsibility you signed up for. Thanks.
Thank you. I forgot to put on my time, I'm sorry.
And then,
I know we don't usually do a give and take, but in response to that, part of what we were asking for was, part of what I was asking for was, what would be, that we have a script that says, well, if we have to do that kind of cut, this is how it would impact what happens in this building. And I think that that's real important, that we know that going in, so we can be able to say that. You can't support it without,
So could
without
we put
that.
that on the agenda for our next budget subcommittee?
Mm-hmm.
impact plan?
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Any other public, before we?
All right, we have to move into non.
So we have to adjourn, then move, right?
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Adjourn.
Madam Chair, I make a motion.
This is your
to
first one.
adjourn.
Oh, sorry.
Do we need to discuss the contribution?
Well, we haven't received it yet. Once we receive the
Okay.
donation, there'll be a
Okay, the
discussion.
donation,
Yeah,
yeah.
just like the other,
Okay, yeah.
just like the other anticipated funds, unanticipated funds, we'll put that in there. But yeah, you haven't gotten it yet, so we technically don't have anything.
24 hours.
That's all right. No, it's no worries. And so it'll probably be at the October meeting that it would be under that agenda item.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, folks, for coming.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
It was a long night for everyone.
It's a long night.
How do you
Oh, okay.
move into non?
So we have to make a motion to move into non-public, and then we leave and close the doors.
Oh, I have.
So
Yeah,
My question is, do you have